Alright, let's dive into something that's been stirring up the IndyCar world lately, and trust me, it's a debate that's as heated as it is fascinating. Picture this, you're in the final laps of a high-stakes race, pushing your car to the limit, and then, bam, you're stuck behind a lapped car. Frustrating, right? Well, that's exactly what happened at the Grand Prix of Portland, and it's reignited a conversation that's been simmering for years. Personally, I think this isn't just about a rule, it's about the identity of the sport itself. Let me break it down for you. First off, let's talk about the core issue. IndyCar doesn't have strict rules to force lapped cars out of the way of the leaders. In my opinion, this is where the series diverges from others like Formula One, which uses blue flags to keep the race flowing. What makes this really interesting is how it reflects IndyCar's philosophy. It's almost like they're saying, let the chaos unfold. But here's the thing, does that chaos enhance the sport, or does it just frustrate drivers and fans? Felix Rosenqvist, who finished second in Portland, didn't hold back when he said, it's time for us to grow up. And honestly, I get where he's coming from. When you're fighting for every second, losing time to a lapped car feels like a slap in the face. But is it really as simple as implementing a blue flag rule? I don't think so. One thing that immediately stands out is the counterargument, lapped cars should have the right to fight for their position. Why? Because in IndyCar, a caution flag can suddenly bring everyone back into contention. If you're a lapped car, that's your lifeline. What many people don't realize is that this rule isn't just about fairness, it's about keeping the race dynamic. Barry Wanser, strategist for Alex Palou, put it well, that's just part of IndyCar. And he's right. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. But here's where it gets tricky. Does this feature actually make the racing better, or does it just add unnecessary frustration? From my perspective, the real question isn't whether lapped cars should move over, it's what kind of racing experience IndyCar wants to deliver. If you take a step back and think about it, this debate is about more than just rules, it's about the soul of the sport. Do we want a tightly controlled race where leaders can always push forward, or do we want a wild, unpredictable battle where anything can happen? Personally, I think there's value in both approaches, but IndyCar's current system leans heavily into the latter. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, unless you're the driver stuck behind a lapped car, of course. What this really suggests is that IndyCar is at a crossroads. On one hand, you have drivers like Rosenqvist and Will Power arguing for change, calling the current rules ridiculous. On the other hand, you have folks like Palou, who's fine with the status quo as long as it's consistent. This raises a deeper question, how much should a racing series evolve? IndyCar has always prided itself on its history and tradition, but is there a point where sticking to the past holds it back? I'm not saying they should overhaul everything, but maybe, just maybe, it's time to reconsider this one rule. A detail I find fascinating is how this debate mirrors broader conversations in sports. Think about it, every league grapples with tradition versus innovation. The NFL changes its rules every year, while baseball clings to its century-old traditions. IndyCar seems to be somewhere in the middle, but this lapped car issue could be the tipping point. If they don't address it, will drivers take matters into their own hands? Power suggested a gentleman's agreement, which honestly sounds like a recipe for more chaos. But hey, maybe that's what IndyCar is all about. In the end, what's most intriguing to me is how this debate reflects the sport's identity. IndyCar has always been about grit, unpredictability, and a bit of old-school charm. But as the series grows, it's going to have to decide what parts of that identity it wants to keep and what parts it's willing to let go. Personally, I think they should find a middle ground, maybe not a full blue flag system, but something that balances fairness with the chaos we all love. What do you think? Is it time for IndyCar to grow up, or should they keep the Wild West vibe? Let me know in the comments, I'm curious to hear your take.